The AMA, of course, is calling for Australian citizens to be able to return from India. What's your issue here? Because we've had government officials, or the government release data on how many people have tested positive. Do you think our system should be able to tolerate more positive tests than it's being said?
Well, to be sure, the AMA did support the pause, basically to shore up hotel quarantine, which has been, showing significant leaks due to the number of cases and also the possible increasing infectivity of some variants. So to be sure, we did support that, but we do think that the message was significantly poor in terms of the fact that they got it wrong, and essentially, to try and sort of really make sure that instances like the two cricketers getting back, appearing to sort of get through a loophole, they actually sent out a distressing message. So that's important, that the AMA message was that we did need to shore this up. Now, we do believe that the time needs to be done. There are issues in hotel quarantine, and we need to fix those things, and in the short term, but also look at longer term solutions. We've got to get those vulnerable Australians back, because really they're Australians, they're brothers and sisters, and we have to get them back. But we do need to fix in the short term whatever we can do in hotel quarantine to improve that. I think there is a variability, and it has been recognised across the states. We need to fix some of that, and then also get back these vulnerable Australians as soon as possible.
I want to ask you about vaccine hesitancy. What's your experience so far about this? Do you think it's fair to say Australians so far are more concerned about this or various COVID vaccines than they have been about others?
Yeah, look, the bottom line is yes. And even, look, I can tell you behind the scenes, authorities are very concerned about that. I mean, the problem is we live ideally, we're a victim of our own success to some degree, in that, living in a country with no COVID, we just don't have any sense in this community of the potential problems overseas that have occurred, and, the number of people, the tragedy. I mean, we're only starting to see a little bit of it in India to some degree. And I think there's also been that anxiety related to the amount of noise, particularly associated with that very rare and unusual clotting that occurs with AstraZeneca. Look, I think that there is actually work to start to get the message about why you have the vaccine. So at the moment, there's been a lot of the negativity, but there needs to be messaging about why we're doing this, both from the point of view of understanding that Australia are sitting ducks at the moment. I think everybody's extremely scared with the number of cases overseas, that it's flooding overseas, and also the variants. But also that, the vaccines are to a great degree our only way out of this, and we need to start to talk the story about, what we're seeing overseas and opening up in the UK and US, because the cases are dropping. And I think hopefully if we can get to that point, which is the reason why to have the vaccine, we can start people feeling they realise that they need it.
Incentive.